Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including a brand new, smaller prototype spotted, the Robotaxi's official launch day announced, Elon's departure from government, and more, so let's get into it. And a special thanks to Incogni for sponsoring a portion of this video. First up today, Tesla is always rolling out great software features. Now, sometimes these are just useful things for the average consumer, and sometimes these are things that actually greatly improve safety in their vehicles. And now in update 2025.14.12, Tesla has announced child left alone detection. This will alert the owner via lights, sounds, and the app notification if a child is detected alone in the vehicle. And of course, that data is processed locally. Currently, this is just a feature for the Model 3, and it doesn't say that this is coming to the US yet, but hopefully it is something they can roll out across the board. But this is coming along with an update that is bringing things like adaptive headlights, blind spot camera on the driver's screen for certain cars, alternate trip plans, avoid highway options, dash cam updates, and side camera recording for Sentry Mode and dash cam, save the trunk height based on location, lane departure avoidance, save the frunk height based on location for the Cybertruck, comfort drive mode and autopilot for cars with adaptive suspensions, keyboard languages, keep accessory power turned on as an option, and then a bunch of other minor updates. At the same time that Tesla is rolling out these software updates, they're also rolling out a few different incentives in different countries. First up, over in Canada, they're rolling out the new Everyday Hero discount of $1,000. Previously, this was something that was only available in the United States, but this program recognizes the contributions of first responders, students, and teachers, giving them $1,000 off the purchase of a new Tesla vehicle. Canadians must verify their status through ID.me, which is a secure platform to confirm eligibility, and then once verified, users are redirected to Tesla's design studio, where they can configure any of their cars and get this $1,000 discount before taxes at checkout. At the same time, over in Australia, Tesla is offering a $3,000 trade-in bonus for the Model 3 specifically. This is a limited time incentive that ends on the 30th of June. They say check our website to view availability and further details. Terms and conditions apply. This is just the latest in a long list of incentives that Tesla is offering for their vehicles right now, including things like the full self-driving transfer, unlimited supercharging for the Cybertruck that is the Foundation Series version, 0% APR for the Model 3, and 1.99% APR for the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y. And that particular APR discount for the Model Y is set to expire on June 16th. All of this is going on, though, while we are expecting Tesla to release some new vehicles soon. We know that, of course, we're still waiting on the performance trim of the new Model Y, but then we've been waiting on some sort of cheaper version there. Of course, we've heard many rumors about this over the years, including Tesla making an entirely new vehicle, and then what we currently expect, which is something just like a stripped-down Model Y. A Model Y that has cloth seats, gets rid of the rear screen, gets rid of a lot of premium features, and comes with a lower range in order for them to offer a car under $40,000. But of course, many have hoped that they would actually make a smaller vehicle, and a lot of rumor has persisted to that effect. And now, at Tesla's Fremont factory, it appears that some sort of other car was spotted. A video of a new Tesla prototype driving around the Fremont factory was posted online, and when we zoom in close and look at these photos, there is a lot of interesting stuff to see. First, this does appear to be smaller. Now, it's always deceptive depending on lens type and focal length and everything with taking cameras like this. These are spy shots, after all, taken with a drone, so it's hard to tell exactly the size of this car, and it's not next to another comparable Model Y to really tell. But this does appear to be some sort of Model Y that is smaller. But the front bumper is entirely covered up to the windshield, which is definitely different than Tesla has done when they're covering things up. And then the rear is covered as well, a little more than previously. On top of that, the door handles appear to be covered, or they're painted to match the body because we actually can't see them. So that could be some sort of design update they're looking to do there, or they're actually hiding something here. In any case, a lot of these details do seem new, and it seems that they're hiding something that they normally don't need to hide. Based on the roof and the glass, though, this definitely appears to be a Model Y, so many think this could actually be a smaller form factor Model Y. And then they're covering up that front and rear, of course, because maybe it won't have those light bars. Maybe they'll go a little simpler with kind of normal headlights, maybe like the previous design of the Model Y. And then the premium version will keep that new light bar design in front and rear. I personally hope that what we're seeing here is actually true, because a smaller version of the Model Y would be something that could probably do extremely well in the market. Of course, it's more efficient because it's smaller, so it allows Tesla to get more range out of a smaller battery pack and then be able to bring that cost down. And then on top of that, this is just a form factor for a vehicle that hasn't really been out there for quite some time in the EV space. There really isn't a truly small crossover compact vehicle. Instead, they're all leaning crossover SUV and larger for electric vehicles, unless you get something like the Model 3. But a lot of people like the functionality of a hatchback, but don't really want to go all the way to a full-size Model Y. While Tesla is definitely focused on the robotaxi launch for June, which we'll talk about more in a second, they have said that these cheaper vehicles are coming within the first half of the year. So this could be what we're seeing here, some sort of cheaper vehicle that's actually a smaller form factor and could be very popular in the United States, but especially in markets like Europe, with them producing those out of China and Giga Berlin. However, if we're just seeing first leaks of this, maybe it will be a little bit of time before we actually get a smaller version, and maybe first we'll see Tesla launch a performance Model Y, and then a cheaper stripped back version that is the same exact car, just with fewer premium features inside. In any case, I'm always excited to see a new prototype vehicle from Tesla and something that they have to cover up. And this very clearly is that. There's a reason they are covering up the front and rear so much, and there's a reason we can't see clear black door handles like all the rest of their cars have, with the exception of the Cybertruck. But what do you think this car is? Do you think this is a new, smaller version of the Model Y? Maybe a Model Y Mini? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts.
Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Incogni. On the modern internet, it feels like our data and privacy are less safe than they ever have been. Scams and untrustworthy ads are everywhere, and that's why it's so important to have an ally like Incogni on your side. Incogni protects against data brokers, which are companies that gather your personal information and sell it for profit. This data can be used for highly invasive personalized ads, but also can end up in the hands of scammers and fraudsters. This can lead to an increase in spam and identity theft, and you losing control of your data. Incogni works by reaching out to data brokers on your behalf, requesting that they remove your personal data, and handling any of those companies' objections. What would take you hours, Incogni does automatically and repeatedly throughout the year. With a yearly subscription, you get a data management assistant that continuously works to keep you safe from things like robocalls and fraud. Take control of your personal information today. Use code RyanShaw for 60% off an annual plan for Incogni at incogni.com/RyanShaw.
Next up today, we've been eagerly awaiting the launch of Tesla's robotaxi network in June in Austin, Texas. Of course, we don't know exactly how this rollout is going to go, but we know at this point that Tesla plans to have 10 to 20 Model Ys operating as early as June 1st. They will be in the robotaxi network and will be exclusive to people who are invited or maybe employees, and they will be entirely unsupervised. But now we have new information here coming from Bloomberg saying that Tesla's robotaxi network is officially launching in Austin on June 12th. Of course, this initial rollout will be limited to Tesla employees, serving as a testing phase for the unsupervised vehicles. For a while now, they have been operating supervised versions of this full self-driving, where they haven't had to really do too many interventions, but a safety driver is there. So this will be the transition over to nobody in the driver's seat. Tesla then plans to be able to expand to thousands of these vehicles by the end of 2025, offering these rides to everybody. And then Tesla will manage all robotaxi logistics in-house for things like insurance, cleaning, and charging. Wireless charging will be what they go for in the future with the robotaxi, but initially the Model Y, of course, does not have this capability, so those cars will have to go to superchargers and be plugged in by humans. For this launch timeline, though, Bloomberg said, quote, Tesla is poised to begin its long-awaited robotaxi service in Austin on June 12th, a milestone in Elon Musk's plan to reshape the company around driverless vehicles and artificial intelligence. One way that Tesla has already been implementing unsupervised self-driving is at their factories, with cars driving themselves from the end of the production line to the logistics lot where they get ready for shipping. So far, we've seen this at both of Tesla's US factories, Fremont and Giga Texas, and now we're seeing this officially in place over at Giga Berlin. We had heard rumors that this was the case already, but we hadn't actually seen footage, and now we actually have this footage. Overall, it's a very impressive thing to see. But when it comes to unsupervised Teslas out in the wild, that is a little bit of a different story, because it's a much larger geofenced area that will be launching for the robotaxi. However, Elon Musk says that their cars have already been operating in an unsupervised manner in Austin. He said, quote, for the past several days, Tesla has been testing self-driving Model Y cars. No one in driver's seat on Austin public streets with no incidents. A month ahead of schedule, next month, first self-delivery from factory to customer. Of course, he's a month ahead of schedule here on something that is years overdue as far as his original predictions, but still it is good to see that this is already operating in May when they've talked about it coming in June. I'm very curious to see if people can actually spot these cars driving around with absolutely nobody inside. But so far, nobody has actually given us a very clear video that showcases this. Some people have said that they've seen it but haven't been able to get a video or photo that really proves this is going on. But then it will be very interesting to see a car get delivered from the factory to a customer next month. Apparently that's something they want to do in June. Have a customer order the car online and have it show up at their doorstep with no human involved in that process. When it comes to the general public being able to use these robotaxis though, of course initially they're starting with a small fleet, but everyone's going to want to be able to try this, especially those that follow Tesla. So when asked, if I fly to Austin end of June, would anyone, be able to test out the network, or is it going to be invite only at first? To which Elon responded, sure. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets pushed a little into July, but we'll see, because that would be a fun thing to be able to fly out there and go test out one of these robotaxis, and it seems they want to open it up to the general public pretty swiftly. Over in California, though, that will likely be the second market that Tesla will launch robotaxis in, and multiple new Model Ys have been spotted testing in California that are TCP licensed. This hints at an imminent launch following Austin, Texas, for the robotaxi network, and these are probably those robotaxis just operating for now with safety drivers. All of this is going on and Tesla is right on the cusp of this launch, but still a lot of people doubt that this will be successful or actually be a huge deal for Tesla and the stock as a whole going forward. Certain big Tesla investors have dropped out at this moment, like Gary Black, saying, "This is the first time since 2021 we have not owned a Tesla. We believe Tesla's valuation has become disconnected from underlying fundamentals. The risk/reward association with the Austin robotaxi test remain asymmetrical to the downside." So as you can see, a lot is riding on this launch, and I'll be sure to keep you posted as this all goes into play throughout June. But back to Tesla's current products and the selling of cars, which at the core is really their business for the time being. The new Model S and X refresh should be coming quite soon. Recently, people have been spotting the Model S and X out in the wild, and the Model S Plaid appears to have a new updated bumper and a front bumper camera, and then the Model X appears to not have too much of a change, but have a new paint color. At the same time, a new Model S was spotted in this blue paint color. It looks to be somewhat metallic, and it's something new for this car, but overall it's just a new paint color. Here's some more photos of that Model S, and it appears that this has 19-inch wheels. Interestingly, the front bumper on this one appears to be exactly the same as the old version, so it seems like they may be going a different direction for the Plaid model specifically. This car has that new paint color, has new wheels with aero covers, kind of in line with the new Model Y wheels, but different of course, and then that front bumper camera to put it in line with their latest cars. But as I mentioned, there's no updated front bumper here. So in the past, Tesla has kept the Model S entirely the same across the board. When you upgraded to the Plaid model, it was basically the same exact car. It just added a spoiler, and then of course all of that Plaid stuff and the wheels. But when it came to the front bumper, it was exactly the same. However, with the new Model 3 performance, Tesla for the first time actually distinguished those cars with different front bumpers and different rear diffusers, and it appears they're going to do the same thing with the new Model S here. The Model S Plaid will have some differences here that really stand out and make it so you can tell the difference, at least if you have a keen eye. Overall though, it doesn't seem there's going to be too much else that they're updating here, unless there's something they're really hiding from us in the interior, other than the updated LED light bars that are customizable. As for the Model X, a refreshed Model X in lunar silver was spotted leaving the Tesla factory in Fremont, and this of course has updated wheels and then a front bumper camera. So people expect that these are headed out to Tesla stores to be on display soon, and that this small refresh is likely to launch quite soon. Overall, it's not really the refresh that a lot of people want to see, but these cars are still just not the biggest priority for Tesla. So they're really just bringing them up to speed with their other current vehicles with features like a front bumper camera, and then maybe long term we'll get some of those bigger updates. But right now they're just refreshing it a tad while they kind of focus on the robotaxi and whatever cheaper vehicles they can make. Next up today, it appears that Elon Musk's time at the government has come to a close, at least in the official sense. Elon tweeted saying, "As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending." Now that he is no longer officially working in this capacity, he has said a lot more and even hinted that maybe he spent a little too much time there. He's even been public saying, yes, he doesn't agree with everything that this administration is doing, but he couldn't really talk about it too publicly in the past. I think overall many Tesla fans and investors will be happy to see that Tesla is focused back at his companies. But he also added, "I think I probably did spend a bit too much time on politics, It's less than people would think because the media is going to overrepresent any political stuff. It's not like I left the companies, it was just relative time allocation that probably was a little too high on the government side, and I've reduced that significantly in recent weeks. But then of course came this new bill, and Elon has criticized this bill because of the fact that it doesn't do anything with gas and oil subsidies, and then it cuts subsidies for electric vehicles and actually adds an annual fee of $250 for electric vehicles. He said, "I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit and undermines the work the Doge team is doing. I think a bill could be big or it could be beautiful. I don't know if it can be both." This is exactly what this party said that they would do when they were running, so it was very confusing to see why the head of an electric vehicle company, who clearly takes advantage of these EV credits, would want to see these disappear. And now it seems that Tesla is trying to fight back a little bit. They tweeted saying, "Abruptly ending the energy tax credits would threaten America's energy independence and the reliability of our grid. We urge the Senate to enact legislation with a sensible wind down of 25D and 48E. This will ensure continued speedy development of over 60 gigawatt capacity per year to support AI and domestic manufacturing growth." Here they're specifically talking about the solar tax credits that will also be ending as a part of this bill. It will definitely be interesting to see where things go from here, because if all goes according to plan, as far as what the administration is trying to put in place right now, the EV tax credits and solar tax credits will be done by the end of this year. So come 2026, customers will no longer be able to take $7,500 off of their EVs. For now, this could create kind of a mad rush for people to take delivery of their cars and get an EV while this credit is in place. But in 2026, it will cause a lot of companies to have to rethink things and really work hard to be able to ship cheaper electric vehicles. I'm curious to see how Tesla will navigate that, and if by 2026 we'll actually see these cheaper cars like a smaller version of the Model Y. Last up today, when it comes to the long future for Tesla, it involves a lot of AI and then humanoid robotics. And now the latest update here is that Tesla plans to launch an Optimus robot with SpaceX to Mars in 2026. SpaceX said first Starship on Mars, gather critical data on transit, entry, and landing, and they of course showed a Tesla bot standing on the planet as well. Tesla Motors also posted a photo of 5 Tesla bots on Instagram saying, "Pack your bags, Optimus, you're going to Mars." Optimus will join SpaceX's first unmanned flight to Mars in 2027. This photo is a direct reference to the iconic 1932 photo of lunch atop a skyscraper taken during the construction of Rockefeller Center. So essentially they're hinting that the Optimus robot will be doing that kind of thing over on Mars. Of course, a ton remains to be seen for this scenario, but it is a pretty crazy view of the future. When it comes to humanoid robotics, though, NVIDIA's CEO had a lot to say about that overall market and Tesla this week. He said, quote, "We do a lot of business with Tesla and xAI. Elon is an extraordinary engineer. We're going to build many more computers together. His self-driving car, his Optimus robot, every single one of them world-class and revolutionary. The Optimus opportunity is just around the corner. It's very likely that humanoid robots are going to be robots we can deploy into the world relatively easily. And this is the first robot that has a chance to achieve the high volume and technology scale to advanced technology. I think this is likely the next multi-trillion-dollar industry." So there are multiple that see this as the future, whereas a lot of people think Tesla should really just focus on making cheaper cars at the moment. All of this remains to be seen, and I'll be sure to keep you posted. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see a detailed video about all the features Tesla has taken away from their vehicles over the years, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.